Hello and welcome to CoinLags. In this video, we will learn how the countdown parts of the TD Sequential indicator works. From the previous part, we have examined how I evaluate the buy and sell signals in our 1 to 9 countdowns. As you can see, we have M9 in the sell setup. Under the normal circumstances, we should have to move to sell position from here. But as you can see, the count continues at the bottom. This part means that trend is continuous. It also constitutes the second part of our two-part indicator, namely the countdown part. The biggest difference between the counts in the setup and countdown part is while the setup part should continue uninterrupted from 1 to 9, the count that starts after the setup can continue from 1 to 13 intermittently. Now let's look at the all difference between TD Sequential setup part and countdown part. TD Sequential setup part is the first stage of the indicator, and the count in this section will be from 1 to 9. The second part of TD Sequential indicator, the countdown part, is the part that works with counts from 1 to 13. The setup part can always start. The second stage, counting stage, cannot start until the setup stage is complete. In setup part, counting is made each time according to whether the closing price of the last bar is greater or less than the closing price of 4 bars before. Counting is made each time according to whether the closing price of the last bar is greater or less than the lowest or highest price of the 2 bars before. In the TD Sequential setup section, the aim is to find the directions of the price with using momentum. In the TD countdown section, the aim is to find the place where trend weakens and turns. Now let's examine these features on examples. In this example, we will look at the buy setup. Before our buy countdown begins, we must have a completed 9 count from the setup part. As you can see, here we have that one. It's at the bottom. After you get this part, you should pay special attention to this. The 13 count should be on the bottom and we should follow it. Low of the last bar. It should be lower than the low of the bar we found when we counted down to 2. If we look at this point, where the 13 count starts, we can see that the lowest level of our start bar is lower than the lowest level of this bar. When the last bar does not comply with the rule of 2 bars being lower than the lowest of the second bar before, it will delay the count to the next bars, as you can see here, and count will continue like this. Once this count is complete, it will take us to the point where the trend weakens and the most likely to shift. To complete the counting, the low of the 13th bar must be lower than the low of the 8th count bar. As you can see, we complete the 13 count here. TD Sequential indicator will show us this with M13. All these conditions shows us the existence of a good trade. After this point, if we take the buy position after making the necessary checks without haste, as you can see, it's a successful trade. Now we will review the cancellation of the buy count. After the number 9 ends and when the count 13 starts, like seen in here. In the meantime, if 9 counts that start for selling are entered, the 13 count that has started for buying will stop. Now let's look at the sell setup with examples and examine them. In order for the cell count to begin, we must have cell setup that has complete itself to 9 as seen in here. Then our cell count from 1 to 13 starts, and as seen here, the closing point of the bar must be 2 bars above the closing point of the previous bar, and the counting will continue. Again, our aim is here to find the weakening side of the trend and to make profit by taking the right position. For this example, we are on the Bitcoin 4-hour chart and we are looking the last M13 signs. Here we have our support and resistance zones. We have a green M13 signals, that means trend has a possibility of sell shifting. We have also green M9 signal after the possible trend change signal. In this area, we can see our double top. After the double top, price testing the resistance zones and resistance zone is working. After that, price breaks down the support level and testing the support level that becomes resistance now and close the candle below the new resistance zones. All of this confirmation is a great signal for a big sell position. And if we take our entry from here, it's a really good successful trade for us. Also, you can use the last green M13 signal for your sell position and you can take your profit from that support zone. As you can see, it really works on Bitcoin. For not to miss these TD Sequential M13 signals, you can create an alarms on CoinLex. You can also create custom signals for your trades as well. You can also use our application to not avoid these alarms you created when you are not at your computer, or you can use our auto trading solution on LagsBot without needing anything. In the last part, we will look at the support, resistance and the stop levels of the TD Sequential indicator. Don't forget to watch it. Learn and earn CoinLex. Thank you for watching us today. See you next time.